Emotional inconsistency is one of the most subtle yet revealing signs of a fake friend, a shadow that often goes unnoticed until the damage has already been done. At first glance, it may seem that such a friend is simply human, prone to mood swings, occasional forgetfulness, or natural emotional variability. But the difference lies in the underlying intention and resonance with your own experience. A true friend's emotions are grounded in authenticity, flowing in harmony with your joys and sorrows, reflecting a genuine connection that does not waver with convenience or circumstance. A fake friend, on the other hand, offers a reflection that is fractured, like a mirror cracked in multiple places. It shows an image of care, yet distorts the reality beneath. Observe closely how they respond to your successes. A fake friend may congratulate you verbally, even with enthusiasm, yet their eyes or tone may betray a subtle undercurrent of envy. The joy they show is often delayed, or it feels measured, as though they are calculating the degree of approval they are willing to extend. There may be smiles and words of encouragement, but the warmth feels thin, lacking the depth that comes from truly sharing in another person's happiness. Similarly, in moments of difficulty or despair, their concern may surface in words, but their presence often remains absent or distracted. They may offer advice quickly, move on to other matters, or even subtly diminish your feelings, leaving you with a sense of emotional isolation despite their supposed support. The key to recognizing emotional inconsistency lies in paying attention to rhythm and authenticity rather than isolated incidents. True friends exhibit a consistency of heart. They do not need to weigh their responses or manage their reactions to protect themselves socially. Their empathy is not transactional, it is natural, flowing freely and without calculation. Fake friends, however, often operate according to an internal agenda. Their expressions of emotion are conditional, dependent on their own needs, fears, or insecurities. They mirror what is socially expected or what benefits them, rather than what arises organically from a place of genuine care. Emotional inconsistency also erodes trust over time. When someone's responses are unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes enthusiastic, sometimes cold, you begin to question not just their feelings, but your own perception of reality. You may start to doubt whether your joys are valid, whether your struggles are worthy of attention, or whether your sense of intimacy is real. This subtle manipulation of emotional resonance can leave deep psychological scars, even if the actions themselves are not overtly malicious. Recognizing emotional inconsistency requires both attentiveness and introspection. It demands a quiet observation of patterns, a sensitivity to the resonance of another's heart with your own. It asks you to notice the difference between calculated politeness and genuine connection, between fleeting interest and sustained empathy. By attuning yourself to these subtle cues, you can distinguish the friend who walks beside you in authenticity from the one who hides behind a mask, offering only a fractured reflection of care. Emotional inconsistency, when recognized, becomes a guiding light, helping you protect your inner world and cultivate relationships that are nurturing, stable, and true. Manipulative validation is one of the most insidious signs of a fake friend, often disguised as kindness or encouragement. At first, it may feel uplifting, words of praise, gestures of support, and seemingly well-intentioned guidance can appear as though they come from a place of genuine care. Yet beneath the surface lies a subtle form of control, a way to influence your thoughts, decisions, and even your sense of self. Unlike authentic validation, which affirms your worth without expectation, manipulative validation carries hidden strings, shaping your choices to align with the interests or insecurities of the one offering it. This makes it a psychological trap, one that can quietly erode your confidence and autonomy over time. A fake friend who uses manipulative validation often provides compliments that are not truly unconditional. For example, praise may come with a hidden expectation: "You did so well, you should do even more like this," or "You handled that perfectly, I knew you could, but you owe me for helping you." On the surface, these statements appear encouraging, but they are carefully crafted to guide your behavior, instill subtle obligation, or create dependence. Similarly, support may be offered selectively, given only when it serves their purpose or reinforces their position in your life. This type of validation is never entirely free. It is transactional, a currency they exchange to maintain influence over your emotions and actions. Manipulative validation often preys on vulnerability. Fake friends quickly recognize moments when you are uncertain, insecure, or emotionally exposed, and they step in with reassurance, but always with an agenda. They may flatter your talents, amplify your confidence, or praise your decisions, yet simultaneously steer you toward choices that benefit them or subtly diminish your independence. The validation feels comforting, even necessary, making it difficult to recognize its manipulative undertone. Over time, this creates a psychological imbalance. You begin to rely on their approval to feel worthy, while they maintain control over the emotional rhythm of your life. Unlike authentic friendship, which nurtures growth, manipulative validation stunts it. True friends encourage yourself, discovery, and decision making without interference, allowing your inner voice to guide you. Fake friends, however, subtly co-opt that voice, replacing it with their own influence disguised as affirmation. They blur the line between encouragement and control, making it challenging to discern your true desires from the expectations they impose. Emotional manipulation, cloaked in validation, becomes a tool for dominance rather than support, quietly undermining your autonomy while appearing benevolent. Recognizing manipulative validation requires keen awareness and reflection. Notice patterns rather than isolated moments, when praise or support consistently carries an undertone of obligation, when encouragement comes paired with expectation, or when your sense of self feels dependent on approval. Pay attention to how interactions leave you feeling empowered or subtly constrained. The distinction is often felt in the quiet spaces of your psyche. A sense of freedom signals authenticity, while a sense of pressure or indebtedness reveals manipulation. By observing these patterns, you can protect your inner world and cultivate relationships that validate you without conditions, that support you without hidden agendas, and that allow your growth to unfold naturally. True friendship is rooted in stability and authenticity, qualities that create a foundation of trust and emotional safety. Unlike superficial connections, which often fluctuate according to circumstance or personal gain, genuine friendships are consistent, grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Stability in friendship does not mean monotony. It means that the emotional currents between two people are reliable and predictable in their integrity. A true friend does not waver with every minor disagreement, momentary frustration, or external pressure. Instead, their presence remains steadfast, their care unwavering, and their commitment to your well-being continuous, even when it is inconvenient or challenging. Authenticity is the second pillar of genuine friendship. True friends do not wear masks to please you or to manipulate your perception of them. They do not conceal their feelings to avoid conflict, nor do they fabricate their thoughts to gain approval. Instead, they communicate openly and honestly, even when the truth is uncomfortable. This authenticity allows a friendship to flourish in depth, rather than simply existing as a surface-level connection. In the presence of a genuine friend, you are free to be yourself without fear of judgment or rejection. Your joys, fears, ambitions, and flaws are met with acceptance. not scrutiny or exploitation. The combination of stability and authenticity creates an emotional resonance that cannot be faked. In true friendship, highs are celebrated with heartfelt enthusiasm and lows are met with unwavering support. There is no hidden agenda behind concern, no calculation behind praise. This reliability fosters trust, a critical component of any meaningful relationship. When a friend's actions consistently align with their words, you develop an intuitive sense of security, a knowing that your emotional life is respected and that the bond is not contingent on convenience or benefit. Moreover, true friendships promote growth rather than dependence. A stable and authentic friend challenges you gently when necessary, encouraging self-reflection and personal development without imposing their will. They provide guidance when asked, but never manipulate or coerce you into choices that serve their interests. The difference lies in intention. Where a fake friend seeks control or validation, a true friend seeks understanding and mutual flourishing. The relationship becomes a mirror that reflects not just who you are, but who you have the potential to become without distortion or expectation. Recognizing true friendship requires both observation and introspection. Pay attention to patterns over time rather than isolated actions. Does this person show up consistently, even when circumstances are difficult? Do their words align with their deeds? Do they accept you fully? Or do you feel the need to modify yourself to maintain their favor? These questions reveal the depth and authenticity of the connection. True friends create a sense of emotional equilibrium, a safe harbor where you can express your inner life freely. In their presence, you are not performing or concealing, you are simply living in the honest reflection of mutual care and respect. In essence, genuine friendship is a rare and precious gift. It is defined not by the frequency of interaction, but by the unwavering quality of presence and the authenticity of connection. It nurtures your soul, supports your growth, and provides a steadfast foundation amid life's uncertainties. To recognize it is to honor it, and to cultivate it is to enrich your life in ways that transient or superficial relationships never could. Observing subtle cues rather than relying solely on words is a critical skill in discerning the authenticity of friendship. Words are easy to manipulate. They can be rehearsed, polished, or strategically deployed to convey an image that may not align with reality. A fake friend can offer compliments, apologies, or reassurances with perfect fluency, but these verbal expressions often conceal their true intentions. To understand a person's motives, one must learn to read between the lines, paying attention to tone, timing, body language, and emotional resonance. These subtle cues often reveal what words attempt to mask, exposing the underlying truth of a relationship that mere speech cannot convey. Tone is an essential indicator of authenticity. Consider how a person sounds when expressing joy for your accomplishments or concern during your hardships. Is their tone consistent with the sentiment they claim to feel, or does it carry hesitation, strain, or dissonance? A fake friend may speak with exaggerated enthusiasm, but the cadence may feel forced, lacking the natural warmth and spontaneity of genuine emotion. Similarly, expressions of sympathy may be punctuated by distractions, interruptions, or subtle impatience, signaling that their attention is conditional and fleeting. These nuances, though easily overlooked, often speak louder than the words themselves. Timing is another revealing factor. Genuine friends respond in ways that reflect presence and attentiveness, showing up when it truly matters, not merely when it is convenient or beneficial to them. Fake friends, however, tend to be selectively present. Their involvement often aligns with their own interests, availability, or desire for social advantage. They may offer support after delays or only in circumstances that cast them in a favorable light. Observing these patterns over time can reveal the sincerity, or lack thereof, behind their words of encouragement. Body language also provides insight. Gestures, posture, facial expressions, and eye contact communicate levels of engagement and sincerity that words alone cannot. A person who claims to care but avoids eye contact, maintains close, doff posture, or exhibits fidgety or distracted movements may be signaling disinterest or discomfort beneath a veneer of politeness. Conversely, authentic friends display congruence between their verbal and nonverbal communication. Their expressions, gestures, and posture align with their words, creating a sense of harmony that reassures and comforts. Finally, emotional resonance. The subtle feeling a person's presence evokes within you serves as a profound indicator. Authentic interactions leave you feeling acknowledged, supported, and understood, whereas manipulative or superficial interactions often produce unease, self-doubt, or a sense of obligation. Trusting this inner sense allows you to perceive truth even when deception is cloaked in eloquence. In essence, observing subtle cues transforms the act of perceiving friendship into a disciplined practice of awareness. It requires patience, attentiveness, and a willingness to notice the often overlooked signals that reveal character and intention. By cultivating this skill, you can distinguish between those who genuinely care for your well-being and those whose words are merely tools of convenience or manipulation. It is in these quiet, almost imperceptible details that the truth of a relationship resides, waiting for the perceptive eye to recognize it. Awareness is one of the most powerful tools we possess for protecting our inner self from the subtle influence of fake friends. It is not enough to merely sense that something is off. True awareness involves careful observation, reflection, and discernment. Fake friends often operate through subtle psychological mechanisms that can quietly erode your emotional stability if left unchecked. By cultivating awareness, you equip yourself with the ability to recognize patterns of behavior that betray insincerity, to see beyond the surface of words and gestures, and to maintain a sense of autonomy and integrity within your relationships. This awareness begins with self-reflection. Understanding your own emotional responses, needs, and boundaries is essential for recognizing when another person's behavior is manipulative or disingenuous. Fake friends often exploit areas of vulnerability, offering validation, praise, or concern that seems comforting but is actually designed to shape your choices or perceptions. When you are attuned to your own feelings, you can distinguish between support that genuinely uplifts and support that subtly undermines. You begin to notice the difference between encouragement that empowers you and influence that imposes external expectations. Observation of patterns is equally critical. A single inconsistency in behavior or a moment of hidden agenda may be easy to dismiss, but repeated actions reveal the true character of a person. Awareness involves paying attention to how a friend behaves over time. Do they consistently respect your boundaries? Do they respond with empathy during your struggles, or only when it suits them? Are their expressions of joy, concern, or admiration aligned with the reality of your experiences? These patterns, often subtle and cumulative, are the key indicators that reveal whether a friendship is rooted in authenticity or artifice. Awareness also requires sensitivity to the emotional resonance of interactions. How do you feel after spending time with this person? Do you feel seen, supported, and free, or do you leave feeling drained, anxious, or uncertain? Emotional resonance provides an internal compass, a quiet but powerful guide to the authenticity of relationships. Fake friends may mask their intentions through charm, eloquence, or occasional acts of kindness, but the overall energy they bring to your life often leaves a trace of imbalance or unease. By paying attention to these subtle impressions, you gain insight into whether a friendship nurtures or depletes your inner self. Furthermore, awareness allows you to set and maintain boundaries effectively. Recognizing the behaviors and signs of insincerity empowers you to protect your emotional well-being without resentment or conflict. It provides clarity in deciding where to invest your energy, whom to trust, and how to cultivate relationships that truly support your growth. In essence, awareness transforms you from a passive participant in social interactions into an active steward of your own inner world. Ultimately, awareness is not simply a defensive tool, it is a pathway to cultivating meaningful, nourishing relationships. By observing carefully, reflecting deeply, and trusting your emotional intuition, you learn to distinguish the authentic from the superficial. This discernment safeguards your psyche, strengthens your sense of self, and allows your life to be surrounded by friends who genuinely mirror, support, and enhance your journey, rather than those who subtly manipulate, diminish, or distract from it. Trusting relationships that nourish rather than drain is the ultimate measure of discerning genuine friendship from pretense. In life, we encounter countless people, some of whom offer companionship and support, while others subtly sap our energy, distort our sense of self, or create emotional turbulence. Recognizing the difference requires a deep understanding of how authentic connection feels and how it contrasts with interactions that leave us depleted. True friends cultivate a sense of safety, encouragement, and growth. They lift us without expectation, listen without judgment, and walk beside us with sincerity. Fake friends, in contrast, often create cycles of dependence, doubt, or manipulation, leaving us exhausted and uncertain about our own worth or decisions. Nourishing relationships are characterized by reciprocity and balance. While no friendship is perfectly equal at all times, there exists an overall harmony in how energy, attention, and care flow between people. True friends invest in your well-being without measuring the return, and they allow space for your growth without attempting to control it. When you spend time with them, you feel lighter, more confident, and more inspired to embrace your authentic self. Fake friends, however, often demand attention disproportionate to what they give, or their support comes with implicit conditions. Their presence may subtly pressure you to conform, seek their approval, or prioritize their desires over your own. Over time, these dynamics drain emotional resources and undermine self-trust. Emotional transparency is another hallmark of relationships that nourish. Genuine friends communicate openly, sharing their thoughts, fears, and vulnerabilities while respecting yours. This mutual transparency fosters trust and deepens connection. By contrast, fake friends often cloak their motives, conceal resentment, or disguise envy behind smiles. They may manipulate situations to maintain control, offering selective truths or half-hearted support. In these relationships, the imbalance of honesty creates tension, forcing you to constantly question intentions and second-guess interactions. Recognizing this distinction is crucial for protecting your emotional energy. The capacity of a friendship to encourage growth is equally vital. True friends challenge you gently when necessary, providing constructive feedback while honoring your autonomy. They celebrate your successes without envy and support you during failures without judgment. Fake friends rarely inspire genuine growth. They may offer guidance only when it serves them or subtly reinforce your dependence on them. Nourishing relationships, in contrast, empower you to become the fullest version of yourself while still cherishing the bond you share. Ultimately, trusting relationships that nourish rather than drain require discernment and boundaries. Awareness of emotional consistency, manipulative behaviors, authenticity, and resonance allows you to choose whom to invest in. Surrounding yourself with those who truly support, reflect, and enhance your journey cultivates a life rich in trust, growth, and fulfillment. By recognizing the difference between those who uplift and those who deplete, you create space for friendships that are not merely convenient or superficial, but profoundly sustaining, relationships that strengthen your sense of self, honor your emotional needs, and mirror the deepest values of integrity and care. In the delicate interplay of human connection, choosing nourishing relationships becomes an act of self-respect and psychological wisdom. By committing to these bonds, you ensure that your inner world remains vibrant, resilient, and supported, surrounded by companions who genuinely walk beside you rather than manipulate or drain your energy.